Hello and welcome. As Amy mentioned, today we'll be discussing information gathering and problem framing as part of the second loop of the design process. My name is Mustafa Naseem, and I'm an ICTD expert in residence at the Atlas Institute here at the University of Colorado Boulder. I'll be covering the information gathering part of this class and then hand it back to Amy, who will discuss problem framing. Before I begin, I want to ask you, why are you collecting information to begin with? Are you only trying to identify a problem that humans are facing? Human beings are amazing. They're complex, they're collaborative, and they're also social. The information gathering process should not just be a means to identify a problem that humans are facing. You should seek to identify more deeply with the humans in the scenarios and contexts that you are studying. Can you feel what humans are feeling? Can you understand what they're going through? Why are things the way they are for others? Which means this is often a growth and learning process for us, which can be hard at times. Surely, we do not want understanding without feeling. Without compassion, we may do something wrong or harm others. We also don't just want feelings without understanding. We'll do the wrong thing with the best of intentions. The information gathering principles guide you to collect information in a way that helps you understand the milieu experiences that your end users face. This section of the class discusses certain principles that you should keep in mind as you're collecting information in the field. The example that I'll use to explain information gathering principles is of a project that students of mine did in Pakistan when they were trying to create better, faster, and cheaper agricultural machinery. The machine that they finalized is a fodder chopping machine that chops fodder into small, tiny pieces that you can then serve to livestock and other animals. Here's a video of how it operates. The first principle for information gathering is to pique the interests of the users that you're trying to engage. As you can see, Fida, one of my students, has clearly been able to establish a bond with somebody he'd only just met. Successful engagement means the sharing of stories, ideas, and emotions from both sides. You're not only there to gather information, you're also there to share some information about yourself, who you are, and why you're there. The second information gathering principle is to learn. And learning means increasing your knowledge either through observation or through conversation or through other means. You can see three of my students learning how a fodder chopper works in real life through observation. The third principle I'd like to talk about is communication. And a successful communication means that you're able to share not just ideas, but also emotions with the end users. Here's a video of an interaction that took place between some of my students and a gentleman who operates fodder chopping machines.
ਹੱਥ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਵਿੱਚ
ਹਾਂ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਚ ਆ ਗਿਆ
ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਲੱਗੀ ਅੰਦਰ
ਨਹੀਂ ਆਹ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਲੱਗੀ ਆਓ
ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਕੰਮ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ
ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਕੰਮ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਕਲੀਫ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਅਸੀਂ
The reason I really like this video is because towards the end, one of my students asks this gentleman whether he was busy and apologizes for taking too much of his time while he was clearly going somewhere else. Empathy is a huge part of communication, and you should be considerate towards your end users and only meet them and communicate with them at a time of their convenience. The last principle I'd like to discuss is recording information. While you're in the field, you're getting information in many different formats and from many different ways. Imagery is a strong part of recording information and can help you recall what happened in the field once you're back after having an information gathering session. Here's an image of somebody who had his hand amputated after it was part of an accident while operating a photochopping machine. After having talked to many different users who were part of accidents involved with photochopping machines, my students decided to change their focus. They decided to create an emergency switch that would stop the machine if a hand went too far in while inputting photo. If they were only concerned with how the machine was operated and how they could make it more efficient, they would not have landed on this very important part of the puzzle, that these machines are exceptionally dangerous to operate. And they espoused all four of these principles while gathering information, and they were able to land on something very critical as part of their design process. Another thing I want to talk to you about is how you record information while you're gathering information. As designers, we don't want the process of recording information to get in the way of us being able to gather information. You want to make sure that your end user feels comfortable sharing information with you. And if you take out big fancy cameras and start to document and start to record while the information gathering is taking place, it may make them uncomfortable. Here's an example of a photograph that Brandon Stanton, the blogger behind the famous blog Humans of New York, took of Fatima, who's somebody who campaigns to get bonded laborers out of bondage in brick kiln factories in Pakistan. Brandon's intention was very different. He was trying to raise money for Fatima, and getting strong, powerful imagery was part of the process, and he was able to raise $2 million for her organization within 3 days of posting these photographs. Our intentions are very different. Our intentions are to record information such that we can then remember what happened in the field once we're back from the field. And so sometimes when I'm recording information, I'll record it through audio and not images, or have images come at the very end of the conversation, or even not have an audio recorder in the mix if I'm talking about sensitive information. I'll record audio notes after the conversation was over and I've left the field. So you should think about what are some of the ways you'd like to record information, and do it in a fashion that it doesn't get in the way of gathering information